to the Comic Game Movie Show. My name is Deshaun, and today I'm here to talk about the big news of today, which is, finally, the Daredevil Disney Plus show is coming. It has been confirmed by Variety, which it's Variety, Hollywood Reporter, and Deadline. If something's reported by those three people, you can bet your bottom dollar that it is either happening or in the works. If they report it, it's some sorry about the weird glare that's coming out, but if they report it, it's coming down the pipe somewhere. It's coming. So I'm excited about. Well, so this, me and the Netflix shows have had an interesting. It's still confusing. It's still like a wait and see game. And after being wrong about Marvel, Disney moving the Netflix stuff over to fucking Disney Plus, I'm a little hesitant to really dive and be definitive about an opinion, because I'm like, I don't know, man, I was wrong that one time. But I will say this, the way it's been described, at least from what I've read, is it is essentially a softer reboot continuation. So, and I remember when I read that, I was like, the fuck does that even mean? What do you mean a soft reboot continuation? Like, what does that even mean? What is a soft reboot continuation? Like, is it done? Is it a reboot? Is it not a reboot? Like, is this a sequel? Like, is it season 4 of Daredevil? What is this? But the wording has been really weird. And the vibe I get is that this is gonna be like, it's gonna be sort of like, and some people have said this before, it will be the spiritual season 4. It will be the spiritual successor to the original Daredevil show. To Daredevil, Netflix Daredevil. It will be the spiritual successor to it. It will have a lot of the same characters, but it's not going to rely heavily on those shows, because it's going to be a new show. They have new writers. They have new people working on this. This is going to be an entirely new show from that perspective. New writers, new people working on this. But at the same time, the vibe I'm getting off of this is they're going to treat this like, if you've seen the other movie, they're going to be like little Easter eggs, little tidbits, little things here and there that you would only know if you watch the older shows, but they're not going to be that important to seeing this show. In fact, I think I posted up not too long ago that personally, I think how they're going to do it is they're going to just frame it like Matt Murdock has been Daredevil for a while. They're going to frame it like all those events that we've seen in the shows, the other Daredevil shows, like they've happened, but maybe they didn't happen exactly like we remembered them happening. Because I do think with them doing, technically it is still a soft reboot, it does give them a bit of leeway to change things, to alter things. Because it's not a direct sequel show. It's just, it's got the same characters, and it will continue certain aspects of it. Like I said, bringing in the same characters, Vincent D'Onofrio, maybe, having the same actors come back and play Karen Page and Foggy Nelson. But they have the opportunity, but since it is still a soft reboot, they can, because like, I personally, one of the big reasons why I didn't want just a straight up season 3 of Daredevil is because the Hand. The Hand is one of the biggest like villain groups in the Marvel universe. They're one of the biggest villain groups in comic universes in terms of, what they represent and what they are. They are right there with Hydra and, and other groups like that. The Hand is like, they're the premier ninja group, really. It's like the Hand in the League of Assassins, over in DC. And I was always disappointed, although it was cool, and although some of those sequences were awesome, I was always disappointed in the depiction of the Hand. Because I'm like, dude, the Hand are so badass. And, Daredevil, he's fighting them, and other people are fighting them too, and they're usually really badass. And I was always like, man, I wish we would have got a cool version of the Hand. And don't get me started on what they did in the Defender show. Well, oh my gosh. Now, it's kind of funny, because I don't mean to even drop this, But it's something that I thought about making a video about but didn't, which is because I've brought this topic up before, which is the Monday morning quarterbacking. But I sit back and think about some of the Netflix shows and all the complaints people had about most of these shows, including Daredevil. All the complaints and the long seasons and the filler episodes and and they some people say some of these shows were boring. It's so funny looking back, and then you look at the Rotten Tomatoes for a lot of these shows. Outside of Daredevil and Jessica Jones, the rest of those shows were not critically acclaimed, which is why I think it's kind of funny that some people hold these Netflix shows on such a high pedestal. When I'm like, man, I know a lot of you people won't fucking with these shows. I was fucking with those shows. I was fucking with Iron Fist. Season 1, not good, but season 2 ain't that bad. It ain't too terrible. I didn't mind it. But but I digress. I just think it's really funny when I see some people's reactions to the old Netflix shows. I'm like, man, y'all were talking shit too. All of y'all were talking shit about Daredevil season 2 because a lot of y'all said it was unfocused, it was unbalanced, it had a lot of filler, and that the Punisher stuff, while good, once the Punisher left, it got boring. I remember that sentiment. I remember shit. That's the thing. It bothers me. That's why I get so upset all the time, because I hear people try to bullshit and be like, oh, actually, those shows were masterpieces. I'm like, you weren't saying that when those shows were coming out, so stop bullshitting now. Same thing with the Star Wars prequel series, but I digress. I am excited for this because it seems like they're gonna do. I'm curious of how much of, because when it's the way, like I said, the way it was worded, it makes it seem like it's gonna be a soft reboot. So how it's probably gonna go, and this is how I would do it. I kind of got on a tangent, but I'm back to it. I would frame it like he's been Daredevil for years. He's been doing this for a while. Those events that happen in the other shows, you can count those as what happened. But you don't frame it that way. The way you frame it is he's been Daredevil for a while. Him and Foggy and Karen, they're doing their thing. You just frame it like that. And he has old villains who are coming back. He's already fucked with the Kingpin. He's already done this. But like I said, you don't frame it like people have to go back and watch the other show to understand it. It's one of those things where you write it in a way in which they explain the history of the event. They explain the history that they have through their actions. You know what I mean? You just write it in that kind of a way. In a way that's you're jumping in it. This way, they don't have to tell an origin story now. They can kind of Spider-Man Homecoming it and not tell an origin story and just kind of, or the Batman. Spider-Man Homecoming, the Batman, and a couple other movies that did not really tell a traditional origin story. It's just no, this Daredevil, he's in the shit, he's in Hell's Kitchen, he's a lawyer, he's Daredevil, Karen and Foggy know that he's Daredevil, they're dealing with their shit, they have history, because everything else, because all these events that happened can easily be just worded as, oh, that thing that happened to us, you know what I mean? Oh, remember that time a hand attacked us at the hospital? Oh yeah, remember that time you can all remember that time Kingpin. You could just kind of talk back to it. You can kind of just reference it and have it be just something that's not that important. Have it be this is something that just happened. You don't have to make it so that you have to go back and watch shows, because it wouldn't make any sense. Otherwise, just make a Daredevil season 4. But since they are making an entirely different show and have entirely different writing crew on it, entirely different people on it, haven't gotten a director yet, but you can rest assured they're gonna get new directors on it. It's gonna be a completely different, not completely different show, but a very, very different show. A very different show than the Daredevil show. It's if you're gonna go through that effort and it's a no show, you can't write it in a way where people have to go watch this other show. Because I can tell you right now, Daredevil is not gonna be R-rated. It's gonna be TV-14. The violence and the actions and the fight sequences will stay. There just won't be as much blood, and there will be no sex, which, to be fair, there wasn't a lot of sex in Daredevil to begin with. There's a sequence with Foggy, but it's the aftermath of a sex, and a sequence with Elektra. That's it. Oh, well, there's 3 sex scenes in the entirety of all 3 seasons of Daredevil, and you can cut those out. And in fact, all you have to do is take out a little bit of the blood, pull back a little, cut away a couple times, take about a little bit of blood, boom, you got TV-14. And so I'm not really worried about Daredevil being pared down, because Daredevil's one of the, out of all the shows, other than Iron Fist, and Luke Cage to a certain extent, Out of all the shows, Daredevil, I was like, yeah, he can still do it. He can still do it. It's gonna be a little bit more. You just gotta cause you can show blood. You can show people getting bloodied, but you just can't show people getting, gutted to death. But yeah, I'm sure they can do it, and it'll be curious to see how they go about doing it. And it's gonna be curious to see how they write this, because this is gonna be a totally different Daredevil. Because this is a Daredevil who would have, and by the way, something that dawned on me too is this can't be Daredevil season 4, just from the simple fact that I've mentioned many times in different videos that there are too many holes, there are too many logical holes and plot holes that would not make any sense if this was a season 4 and it existed in the MCU world. Especially with the Daredevil who knows who interacted with Peter Parker and all this other shit. Interacted with Spider-Man and all the other shit. So it can't be that. It can't be so they would have to go back and retroactively write in that this the changes that would have happened from this existing in a Marvel in an MCU world. You know what I mean? So it's gonna have to be different anyways, just from being in the MCU. It's gonna have to be different, and there's gonna be a lot of people gonna push back on it. I already see it on online. I already see a lot of people upset and talking about, oh, they're gonna Disneyfy it. I already see somebody taking shots they're gonna be a bunch of jokes. They're gonna be a bunch of jokes. Yes, because Foggy wasn't quipping his ass off in the first 3 seasons of Daredevil. Yes. There was no quips whatsoever. Yes, because none of these Marvel Disney Plus shows have anything dark in it. Oh, everyone just erased the memory of episode 5 of Moon Knight out of your fucking skulls. Like I said, so many people get hung up on the jokes, get hung up on that thing. They think that they see comic books in a certain way and they see these things in a certain way and they just, it has to be taken serious. And I always those guys always annoy the fuck out of me. No, it's not going to be, yes, it's going to have a bit of levity. It's probably going to have a little bit more levity than fucking the other season, than Daredevil, but it's not going to be that fucking levity. You know what I mean? Watching Moon Knight, and when the shit is getting going, it is serious. You know what I mean? Because that's been Marvel's thing. It's we get serious when it's time to get serious, not all the fucking time, and nobody's serious all the time. And if you're serious all the time, then you a boring motherfucker. But anyways, I'm excited for this show. I can't wait to see how they go about it. I personally think, and I truly believe that the approach they're going to take to this is that he's been Daredevil for years already. Foggy and Karen already know who he is. He's already been through these steps. He's already fought Kingpin. He's already fought, maybe he's already fought Bullseye. He's already done all this shit. So that way, they can kind of do whatever. They're not completely tied to the old shows, to what happened in the other show. They're tied because the cast is coming back, but they're not really tied to it. And they can bring Ben Urich back. That'd be great. I love Ben Urich in the first season. That was one of the big complaints, is they killed Ben Urich. Cottonmouth, I'm not sure what you're going to do about that. Anyways, thank you guys for joining the Comic Game Movie Show. Please like, subscribe. And are you excited that a new Daredevil Disney Plus show is on the way? Comment below, let me know. And once again, please remember to like, subscribe. I'll see you on the next one.